Welcome back to Hilaal Live. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa has nominated Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya as the next Chief Justice. The Chief Justice position will become vacant at the end of August this year when the term of office for Justice Raymond Zondo comes to an end. Joining us now to discuss this, I'd like to welcome Mbekezeli Benjamin from Judges Matter. Mbekezeli, good day. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live.
Good day, Faraz. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Absolute pleasure to have you on. Mbekezeli, this would be history, won't it? That, we have a female Chief Justice, serving in such a high position, such a, a proper position within the judiciary. I mean, I sort of get your take on it, just for Judge Mandisa Maya to really have such a unique position within the judiciary.
Yes, it is a historic moment in many ways. It is a career milestone for her personally. We've never had a woman Chief Justice before. This is the first time. And the fact that it happens on the 30th year of our democracy is also historically significant for that reason. Of course, Justice Maya has been a trailblazer for most of her career. She was one of the first Black judges to be appointed. She also became the first woman to be appointed on the Supreme Court of Appeal, and later she was the first president of that court. So she is a woman of many firsts, and this is just one of them.
Yeah, I was going to, talk about that, the fact that she's made history, and not just, of course, being, part of the Deputy Chief Justice position, but on so many occasions. And that speaks quite rich, doesn't it, in terms of females serving within the judiciary. We see so many of them, but not really in a position of, significance, like being the Chief Justice of South Africa. Mbekezeli?
Yes, in 950 judges.
Mm-hmm. No, please do carry on.
Oh, yes. So in 1994, there were only 2 women out of about a total of 150 judges across South Africa. In 2024, about judiciary is now made up of women. But despite those, we haven't seen women occupy the leadership of Justice Maya in Africa and as Chief Justice, but we still have far too in the leader position. So there are only about 4 or 5 other heads of court out of about 15 in total.
Mbekezeli, Judge Mandisa Maya, of course, when we saw last year during the interviews for the Chief Justice position, of course, even prior to that, amongst political parties, when we talk about Raymond Zondo, there was always a sense of division with regards to his appointment. Judge Maya sort of brings a level playing field, doesn't it, in terms of her being part of this, unique position, but also at the same time, with her being the Chief Justice, you could see that most political parties, if not all, look at her as somebody who could serve this position with quite a significant manner.
Yes, she does seem to have the consensus of all the political parties in Parliament, which is really unusual when you consider how much division we have in our politics. But yesterday we heard from the DA who support her, the EFF support her, the ANC support her, and several other parties, which is really good. That means the relationship between Parliament and the judiciary will be much stronger because over the last little while, we've seen some divisions when it comes to the relationship between Parliament and the judiciary. We've seen some spats, very public disagreement between the Chief Justice and the Speaker of Parliament, for example. And so that hasn't been good. So it's quite a good thing that Justice Maya, in fact, has all of this support, because that means there'll be more cooperation between the 2 arms of state.
Mbekezeli, the Chief Justice position, I mean, it's always been one of, there's always been a sense of controversy with regards to it. Again, from the political side of things, given when you had the Zondo Commission of Inquiry, many political parties were not really happy with the findings, given that obviously these are recommendations and these recommendations haven't been acted upon. You've seen many political parties, quote unquote, say that he is acting in the interest of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Is there a sense of, and I want to use this word very, loosely, a sort of poison chalice to the Chief Justice position? And how does Justice Maya approach it in trying to make sure that there is no political influence within that position?
That's a very important question for us, because the under Chief Justice Zondo, it was really unusual to see a Chief Justice who's so involved in some of the big political issues. Of course, his time at the State Capture Commission led him to some of the political controversies that we've seen over the last few years. But the role of Chief Justice is actually so not in the spotlight. It is actually just a normal job as a judge. The only difference is, of course, you are the top judge in the country. And if you look at the history since 1994, all of our chief justices have kept away from the political limelight. Very few of them have even taken live TV interviews. And so in many ways, Justice Zondo was unusual because of that. But what we can expect from Justice Maya, she is a normal judge, very much conservative. So a traditional judge in a sense, in that she shies away from the limelight. She doesn't even want her pictures to be taken. So I think when she becomes Chief Justice, we'll see less of her and probably hear a lot more than we see her. And that, I think, is a good thing. It will stabilize some of those relations again between the different arms of state and the judiciary.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the judiciary itself and where is it right now, 30 years into democracy in South Africa? Because, as citizens, we look at the judiciary as that arm of the state and always consider it to be the one that really makes the most important decisions in the accountability part of it. 30 years into democracy, where are we in terms of the judiciary, Mbekezeli?
Well, 30 years into democracy, I think the judiciary is one of those institutions that we as South Africans can be very proud. Our judges are people of integrity. They are people who respect their oath of office, who always try to act independently and follow the law. Where there have been situations where judges have not followed the law or conducted themselves properly, we've recently seen the impeachment of 2 judges. So I think our judiciary is strong. Of course, there are problems that we see when it comes to budgets and resources and the limitations that cause the judiciary and in making sure that the cases move as quickly as possible through the system. But for the most part, I think our judiciary is a really good institution.
Mbekezeli, thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live. Much appreciated. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
That's Mbekezeli Benjamin from Judges Matter, of course. Few months still left for Justice Raymond Zondo to serve as the Chief Justice of South Africa. We will, of course, be keeping a close eye on that. Do stay tuned. After the break, our level latest in finance, markets, and sports. But before that, we'll be crossing to Isha Salah in Makkat al Mukarramah.